Random disclaimer. One, the audio quality is going to be pretty bad because I have two fans and an AC running, so I guess that's three things. Four, I'm not an audiophile. I don't really know what all these settings mean or do, and I don't have a $300 microphone. Sorry, I guess. And five, the breathing is just because on top of the heat, my allergies are killing me. If it's really that bad, don't watch. Again, I am sorry. There's not much I can do about that. Josemuke is an exclusionary term that basically means everything that appeals to women. Very broad, but within the specifics of like Japanese media, specifically anime, manga, fictional stuff. Things that would fall into that would be doujinshi, visual novels, the main focus of this video, and otome. Otome is a type of josemuke. Josemuke does not have to be a dating game. Otome is a dating game. Similarly to that, Ikimen and Bishi characters can exist outside Otome and outside of Josemuke altogether. Best way to explain this would be example of a Bishonen character would be Apple from Disney's Twisted Wonderland. There is Gap Moe. Moe is that feeling of cuteness. Again, assuming you're familiar with that term too. He's a very, very cute character. You get that feeling of cuteness from the fact that his true personality is more brash and tumble, but we're going to use him as an example of a Bisha character. Just looking at him, Bishonen. Riddle also. Look at him, very Bishi. Lilia also, again, deeper thing going on there if you know the game. Look at him, very Bishi. Ikemen characters from the same game would be Rook Hunt and Leona, and also Jack. I guess Rugi would be Bishi, huh? Anyway, characters like that can exist outside of Josemuke games. That is to say, they can exist outside of games that are targeted at girls. It doesn't have to be a girly game to have cute rough and tumble boys and cute boys. Example would be Genshin Impact, which literally benefits from being able to appeal to as many people as possible. The barrier of entry for Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail is having a device with at least 50 gigabytes of storage and like 20 to 30 minutes to dedicate a day. Honestly, the less time you could dedicate per day, it's really more like weekly or monthly, the better. Because if you see a character you really like and you don't have the time to play the game, that's where the money spending comes in, baby. Anyway, Oshikatsu is the lifestyle and act of supporting your Oshi. Oshi basically means a character you support. It's like stan culture. You know, sometimes, of course, the characters in question can be fictional, which is my wheelhouse. I feel like a lot of Otome games, well, Otome definitely, but a lot of Josemuke games in general that are coming out lately have been just Oshi bait. They have a large cast of characters with distinct archetypes. They have a lot of collectible merch and birthday events and like dripping of content to basically give you that closeness of the character that you really like. And it's never as simple as this character is blue and that's why I really like them, obviously. Maybe this character is blue and they have long hair and you're into long hair and they have an affinity for birds and they also released a card where said character is dancing on a pole. Talking about Wataru from Ensemble Stars, that's what I'm talking about. But the games in question are not Otome. They're Josemuke, so you never get that full on. And even when you do get that full on, you get that full romance and alluded to sex. Apparently, I don't play Love and Deep Space. You get Love and Deep Space, which quite literally, as of Check's Imaginary Watch, whatever time and date it is right now, watches don't have the date on them unless they're Apple Watches. Check's Imaginary Apple Watch. I don't even know if this is like, now that I think about it, there's no way this is all time. This must be like monthly. But anyway, Love and Deep Space is number one combined like global. Dude, is this? I need to switch positions. I need a new job. Anyway, Love and Deep Space. Hold on. How much? How much has Love and Deep Space made year to date? This is gonna be like a nine figure number, and I'm gonna get really mad. 900 million. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Love and Deep Space this month has made $40 million. Number one. So I'm not saying being an otome game doesn't pay, but I'm saying they're kind of the like exception to the rule, I suppose. Because second is Genshin Impact, which also excuse me. Second is Genshin Impact, which is like I said, they try to appeal to as many people as possible. So I just want to say, 11 D Space is a freak off a leech, honestly. Which this would be a plus for me. Honestly, I just wish there was a game that actually appealed to my interest. I don't have anything nice to say about 11 Deep Space or Infinity Nikki, so I'm gonna leave that there. Twisted Wonderland is all the way at 18th though. And you've probably seen people with things like Eda bags. They maybe have Oshi shrines. Nothing against having multiple Oshis. Your Oshi can be a VTuber. They can be an idol. One common thing I see a lot with these Oshi bait games. Again, it's a specific category of Josei Muke that Otome falls under, which is basically my way of saying I'm making this up. Again, and Stars and Twisted Wonderland would be very much outside of that otome bubble because they're not dating games, but they have that bait. And you can argue that the money made from the merch and everything else isn't necessary. And actually, most this is not me undermining people who aren't creatives, obviously. If you don't draw, maybe you like to do sports instead. Maybe you do like handcrafts. I'm not saying that's invalid, but the majority of people who are like, and I'm not saying this doesn't make you as hardcore. I'm not saying a lot of things. I'm not saying any more than I'm saying. I hope that comes across clearly. A lot of people who are very, very serious about their Oshis either draw or commission art and they make handmade things. So I don't even want to say that like it's necessary, but a lot of people do spend a lot of money on that merch and they don't need that merch money. This is just Play Store sales. You know what I mean? This is just people buying those Google Play gift cards for themselves and not for someone on the other side of the planet pretending to be Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean? Like this is it's a lot of money that they're making. And they don't really need any more than that, but who needs anything? You know, greed makes the world go round. Or what am I saying? There's definitely a distinction that could be made between a $20 Otome game from the Nintendo store that you pay once and you're done with, and the types of play forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, like Love and Deep Space. The main thing to me, regardless of if it's a gacha Otome game or not, is that outside of those serious games, again, regardless of if they're gacha, Otome and visual novels as a general, so again, over Josemuke is visual novel, which is a medium, a type of game in the same way that like a hack and slash is that they're treated as a joke. And in a lot of gacha games that happen to incidentally tell their stories through visual novel mediums, that isn't the main point. You can argue that since reading and Josemuke just go hand in hand like that, that Twisted Wonderland probably has to be a visual novel first. But do you really think Uma Musume needs to be? Probably not. If they could afford it, or even if it would be more feasible, they'd probably just do full animation or mini episodes between each one instead of little visual novel segments. But to this day, games like Cookie Run Kingdom do visual novel April Fool's jokes, where the joke is, oh, look, it's like a dating game. Uh, Nekopara did the Nekopara Boys game, Nekopara Boys Paradise or whatever, as a joke, and then they ended up releasing it anyway. Where I think a Catboy game would sell to both genders and any other ones in between to all genders. Um, Honestly, Susan the Real Girl from Gravity Falls was a hilarious episode. I love Giffany. Do you know anything about Twisted Wonderland? I do have an OC based off of her. Susan the Real Girl came out in 2014. Doki Doki Literature Club came out in 2017. I don't remember the exact date that Five Nights at Freddy's came out, and I don't remember if the regular show episode about animatronics came out before that, but I do know that Giffany at the end of the episode puts her consciousness in a scary animatronic too. So, yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club has nothing on my girl Giffany. Back off. Twisted Wonderland had a huge spike historically in downloads in October of this year, October moving into November and December because the anime came out. A lot of people were downloading it because of that, but they had a spending of 12 million earlier than that in February of 2025 because of a specific character's birthday. And there was no spike of purchasing. If anything, the purchases went down. Spending had like a peak of around 26, 30K when the anime came out. And then it went down, and I think it spiked a little bit to 40 in February. And they do a New Year's sale in February. So it really was just people getting more for less, but they were spending more to get more, basically, which is how money's supposed to work. I sure hope it does. Um, so I don't know. I don't want this to sound like throwing stones from glass houses. I'm throwing nothing. I'm just talking. I live in this house, right? I collect Lilia and Rugi and like Twisted Wonderland and all types of collectible things. This isn't me really trying to be mean or anything or whatever. Now, all that to say, all of these games historically, even Obey Me, have had a lot of art and thought and lore that goes into them, right? Made by human beings. You see where I'm going with this? Yana Taboso, who is the art director and writes not all, but based off of her tweets and just things that have been said about Twisted Wonderland, she writes the majority of the outline, most of the outlines, makes notes, and 99.9% of the art is made by her. There is, at this point, I would want to say a handful, maybe no, definitely no more than 10, because I noticed by now, cards that were not drawn by her. But all the character designs and everything else was made by Yana Taboso. If that name doesn't mean anything to you, have you maybe heard of Black Butler? Right. Uh, it really shows when you look at Riddle, Sebastian's like Sebastian for too long. It's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of like Riddle and Sebastian. If you look at it, kind of shows if you look at Riddle and Jade for too long, like you tilt your head and that's just Sebastian and CL. It's like scary, kind of. I know she did design another character for a different game. I don't think she really works closely on that game or anything, but that character is also just like a CL. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that. The more CLs, the merrier. The more Sebastians, the scarier. Um, Fragaria Memories is probably, and Twisted Wonderland is Disney, which this just goes into the money thing, honestly. Fragaria Memories is the cheapest And I have a Sonic keychain actually, which is kind of funny. But Fragaria Memories is the cheapest cash grab in recent memory. My God. Um, right now it's like a project, quote unquote. I don't know if there's actually plans for a game. I really like Wilmesh and Sana. It's Sanrio. Like, of course, if I feel like they're not marketing it enough, but what is there to market other than plushies that are $40 plus because of tariffs to get over here? Whatever's going on in Japan, I don't really know. I haven't seen any collabs or anything. Like I said, if there's a plan for a game, it hasn't hit my ears. If anything, I remember assumptions when the announcement was first made that there's going to be a game, and then those all being proven wrong. Also, man, the Hello Kitty guy is ugly. No offense, he's like toothpaste. When people say mint chocolate tastes like toothpaste, it's like what toothpaste are you using? But when people act surprised when people call characters that are like red and white toothpaste, it's like, yeah, there's lots of toothpaste that are red and white. Too many people are just used to blue toothpaste, and they're like, what are you talking about? The blue glittery toothpaste specifically. But at the same time, every time you see blue glittery character, you don't say they look like toothpaste, do you? I'm talking about nothing. Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts, so when there was an announcement for Twisted Wonderland, I thought like, ooh, Kingdom Hearts 2. What really got me personally into Twisted Wonderland, and listen, I'm not saying you need to have a huge story. Maybe one day you were scrolling through the App Store and you organically got an ad for Ensemble Stars, or you randomly found a Fragaria Memories video on YouTube. Or maybe you just went, ooh, that's Kuromi. I like Kuromi. Whoa, who's the anime boy standing with her? It doesn't matter how you found it. But for me personally, Twisted Wonderland just applies to all of my senses, especially in the like monsters slash villains area. I really like Monster High, so it kind of scratches that same itch. The fashion is kind of similar too. I mean, all the boys wear high heels and eyeshadow. They might as well be Monster High dolls. Disney, clearly, Disney Japan, the Oriental Land Company, they should do something about that name. Clearly saw the success of Twisted Wonderland and said, dude, we should do that a second time. As far as I'm aware, there's been attempts before and since Twisted Wonderland to make some kind of Disney mobile game. There's multiple Disney mobile games. You get what I'm saying? Like Disney Japan outsourcing. And the game company, like the studio, went bankrupt because of the Disney game, which is a little funny. I mean, it's not funny. People losing their jobs, very, very sad. Very, very sad. Um, yeah, the company making this sparkling stars, which like yawn, boring. Again, what I like about Twisted Wonderland is the fact that every single one of them is like an asshole in their own way. Even Kalim Alasim and Rakunt. Well, Rakunt is a pervert, even Kalim Alisim, who is intentionally based off of a character who could be viewed as good and wasn't actually accepted into the evil magic school, they go to evil magic school. Keep up, please. No, it's not like Harry Potter. The lady that lives in the mold house did not invent the concept of a British boarding school. Please, for the love of God, use Google Images. British boarding schools historically exist, and yes, they all have little animals on crests, and they're corny, and everyone sleeps in dorms, even though they're like 13. They're real. I saw one that specifically is like all trees, which is a really cool concept. Twisted Wonderland, the dorms are based off of the villains, obviously. But yeah, that she didn't even invent the concept of a wizarding school. That was the worst witch ever, which came out years before. She's not original. No one is, but she's worse because so many people give her credit for it, which is her fault specifically. So she um, needs to have a nice rest of her life. Anyway, just realized I got so hyper that I forgot to mention the actual topic I was speaking about. Very recently, Disney announced for January of 2027 Sparklink Stars, which appears to be some type of Idol and Stars style Josemuke, featuring one blonde haired anime boy in white. Never seen one like that before. A blonde guy in a blue and white outfit, unheard of. Um, Honestly, another thing I forgot to mention is the fact that if you haven't played Twisted Wonderland, Twisted Wonderland is the name of the world. The world. Night Raven College is the school that the main cast is a part of. They have a rival school, Royal Sword Academy. The seven of Night Raven College are based off of villains, and the seven of um, Royal Sword Academy are based off of heroes. The specific lineups are like the very notable ones from the 2D animated movies. My assumption is with the Royal Sword Academy characters being introduced like literally now. The guy based off Jasmine and the guy based off Ariel have just had their faces shown. The guy based off Snow White was in one of the later books. It was like book 5 or 6. We actually saw his face, and we do not even know what the others look like. So the fact that this is going to butt heads by the time January comes around, assuming there'll probably still be more Royal Sword Academy characters being released, I don't even want to say it doesn't make sense, but this is Disney's way of saying we're capitalizing on this as much as possible, so they'll have crossover with that. Because I'm not even saying to boycott the game. I kind of don't care what other people do, in all honesty. It's just like, it's Disney. They're going to make their money. It doesn't really matter. None of this matters. I just wanted to talk. Quote: AI is being used for both efficiency and value creation. From a technological standpoint, they explain that they are using AI to improve the efficiency of development and operations, generate ideas, and support production. On the other hand, they emphasize that the essence of competition lies in how rich and impactful experiences can be created using AI, and stressed their uncompromising stance on quality. You might as well piss on me and tell me it's raining. Genuinely. I didn't want to open up being like I'm angry because I'm actually very amicable and nice, but I'm very passionate across the board. This is completely ridiculous, and everyone complains about AI constantly, and I know why, because it's awful. Generative AI specifically. I don't mean when you go into Google Calendar and there's a smart alarm system. I don't even mean as awful as it is, and also it's wrong. Please, 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 if there is something wrong with you, if it's something important regarding you, a family member, a pet, and you still use Google, even God, if you're looking up the weather and the first thing that comes up is that AR overview, because it is, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no way to turn it off, please scroll down. Do not ever. The same way 10 years ago, don't trust Dr. Google, still do not trust Dr. Google. Scroll down, go on Reddit or something, please. Can't believe I'm saying that, but go on Reddit. Um, I wouldn't even trust AI to do my laundry. And you want people who their job is to make art to literally give that up and let robots do it? Honestly, I don't care about Pal World, but the fact that their stance was the artists that we hire like making art, why would we take that away from them? Yes, please, yes. I am 100% aware so many people like Kojima who yeah, see how liking AI turned out for him in like a week. I saw, you know, I don't want to sound like someone who yells at the cashier at I don't know, a McDonald's or whatever because like you're not getting my business anymore. But that legitimately left a bad taste in my mouth. And Kojima is just some guy, right? Like imagine the people that worked under him, which streets are saying that is the reason why he doesn't work for Konami anymore because he treats everyone under him so badly. And under him in quotes, because it takes a lot of people to bring a video game to life. It left such a bad taste in my mouth that I saw Death Stranding 2 on the Steam summer sale and I second and third guessed it and scrolled right past, even knowing he walked back his statements about AI. I don't care. Choke. Um, it takes so many people coming together to make art. And regardless of whether or not the average person knows that, these are people's jobs, and I don't like it. I feel like creativity is just so important that it amazes me that the concept of doing even just making logos for companies, so many people use AI. And I don't even want to say it's that nobody can tell, and maybe the majority of people can't tell, but every time I see AI on a food product, and I know I'm not the only one, I'm not trusting you because you couldn't pay some guy $5 off the internet to draw you a picture. um, I don't know what you're putting in the food then. I don't trust you. I don't want your ugly AI generated t-shirt. I don't want anything like that. It's awful. Maybe if AI really was only being used to cure cancer patients, which looking around, there's no cure for cancer yet. Oh, what about artificial intelligence has been used for okay. Like I understand. I know what Grammarly is. I know what spell check is. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I'm saying it shouldn't be used by Disney. Like people are going to play a Disney gotcha game. There's nothing I can do to stop this from happening, right? And I guess this is the part where I'm supposed to say something like, "Oh, Walt wouldn't want this," or "This isn't what Disney was made for." Well, Walt was like an anti-union bigot. Okay, he didn't even care about his employees. Same shit I was talking about with Kojima. Like, I don't really care, and he's dead. Um, I do a lot of things in Minecraft to the Frozen head that's allegedly on Disney. I don't know. You've seen Disney's Frozen? I haven't. I just know there's a guy with a big nose in it. Um, it's just gonna be pseudo ultimate slap because again, Leviana Saboso. I'm not saying that every Jose Muke that's not an Otome game is bad or shouldn't exist. That's not at all what I'm saying. Um, but Disney's edging you. Disney's edging people with the express purpose of taking their money. But like also everyone's trying to take your money. So I don't really know what the moral of this is. I guess there's no moral. The moral is in the comments. Tell me who your Oshis are. For many of the games that I mentioned, my Oshis from Twisted Wonderland. Honestly, my main Oshi is Lilia, but I also really like Rugi and Leona and Idia. And then my Oshis from N Stars are like Mayo and Hajime. And I didn't even mention Yumi shipping in this video. I should probably go back and add a part about Yumi shipping. Yeah, especially since I mentioned Otome. Oops, that was really bad. That was really bad. I should have mentioned that.